Building a successful YouTube channel and a professional career can feel like an extreme sport at times. I've been able to grow my YouTube channel to over 150,000 subscribers whilst progressing up to senior engineer, making six figures, all while still being in my 20s. This is while I maintain my protein intake and sleep and sanity. Well, the last one is touch and go, but you know what I mean. And you may have the desire to build a YouTube channel to reap all the benefits like community, monetization, building a personal brand, but you don't want to compromise your professional growth. And I'm gonna be real with you, this isn't always easy, especially at the start, but it's 1000% worth it. And so in this video, I'm going to share how I built my YouTube channel and my career simultaneously. So let's just get into it. The first thing I did in order to build my career and my YouTube channel was sacrifice. Now I said we were gonna be honest and brutal here, but at the beginning especially, I had to compromise on things like going out as often, right? Or being with friends in order to grow both of these simultaneously, because they both had a high upfront investment and my time and energy was limited, right? If I wanted to grow on YouTube, there was that initial steep learning curve where how do I edit videos? How do I record? How do I organize all of my ideas? How do I make thumbnails? There was a lot for me to learn at the same time as building a career and learning all that came with engineering, having transitioned from geography into this career. And so I had to sacrifice on other things, and that's okay. Like, I was willing to accept, and I could see the longer term vision that for me, it was worth sacrificing now so that I could build these two assets up basically. Now, I will say as time progresses and you learn more about each of them, you can ease up and you don't have to sacrifice as much. And of course, I still go out, I still travel, I do all of these things, but there was sacrifice at the beginning. This is also going to be true if money is a limiting factor, because if you have more time than you do money, then that means you have to spend the time because you don't have the cash. Whereas if you have cash, you can outsource things or get software to help you do certain things in the process for both your career and your channel. One piece of advice I do have though is to have your non-negotiables, because whilst I was willing to sacrifice going out to maybe bars or hanging out with friends as much, I wasn't willing to sacrifice things like the gym and working out and sleep. So just know things that are a hard no, like there is no compromise on this, and other things where you're like, yeah, you know, I'm willing to move on that. The next thing that has helped me with building both of these and having longevity is making content that I actually care about and actually have an interest in, which sounds obvious, but a lot of people are tempted to make content that is trendy or that they think will do well or that they think will earn them a lot of money, but they can't sustain it. Because the reality is, this is a grind at times. When you're making videos at the beginning or even in the middle and nobody is watching, when you are in the dip, as Seth Godin speaks about, that point where you are putting in the effort, but it doesn't feel like anything's happening. It doesn't feel like you're moving forward, or maybe you're actually regressing. If you also don't like the content, if you don't like what you're making, it's going to be near impossible to make it through. I really like what I speak about here on this channel. It is not a problem for me to show up and speak about it because I care, right? I love this stuff. However, there have been times when I have been tempted to go down the route of, maybe I should speak about this because that seems quite trendy or picking up. I can't sustain it, because if I don't really care about it, then I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do my 9 to 5, and then I'm going to jump on YouTube and talk about things that I don't really care about. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So make sure that you are building a channel around something that you're passionate about and that you would talk about even if you weren't getting paid or all those other things that come with it. The next thing that has allowed me to grow both of these is leveraging the synergy between them. And let's talk about the way my career has helped me on YouTube. One of the biggest ways is it has given me a unique advantage in the way that I talk on YouTube, the things that I talk about and my structure. I'll give you a prime example from a video that did really well on my channel about locking in, right? And it inspired, I saw a lot of other videos popping up after it. But one of the reasons that video did so well is because I was talking about things that were coming from the engineering world, about how you might use that in personal development. I spoke about things like the blameless postmortem, like agile, like tracking, and I could only speak about those things because of my career in engineering. That's why I was aware of their existence and how they could help us in locking in and moving forward. That was a video that did over 300,000 views. I think I got over 12,000 subscribers and over $4,000 from one video, where I was integrating my knowledge from my career and finding that synergy between the career and the YouTube channel. And there's been other videos that have been very similar to that, where I've been able to draw on that engineering knowledge and reflect that in there so that I come as a unique individual here, the way that I think about things logically and structurally. But the synergy doesn't just go one way, because my YouTube channel has helped me build my career up to being a senior and on six figures because of the brand that I've been able to build here and the comfortability that I have showing up online because of this YouTube channel. With the exception of my first job in tech and my training, all of my jobs have been inbound. That means the recruiters have come to me. I haven't applied, right? Getting to senior level and six-figure jobs, they've come to me. And being here on YouTube, on this channel and my other channel, speaking about things, showing that I can break complex ideas down, articulate myself, and then taking that to platforms like LinkedIn where recruiters exist, where the jobs are, has been so valuable for me in growing my career. And so YouTube has actually helped in that way, and the synergy goes back and forth in so many ways. So the next way I've been able to build the two of these simultaneously is actually by finding jobs that give me more autonomy and flexibility, or even if I have to build that into the job. What I mean by this is it's very draining if you're working a job and building a career with a manager who's micromanaging you, right? Like they're always in your face or they're always on your case. It's draining. You add to the fact that you might be in the office 5 days a week. It's very challenging, not impossible, but challenging to build a YouTube channel when your career looks like that. Which is why over the years, I have had priorities when I'm looking for jobs, things like autonomy. Is this the type of job that's going to allow me to kind of get on with stuff so long as I have shown my value? I have turned down jobs that pay me more, but require me to go in the office more because I'm like, I know the energy depletion that happens when you commute. I don't want that. For me and my long-term vision and long-term plan for building both of these, it makes sense for me to take this, still very good salary, but lower, right? Maybe I don't work for an investment bank or a hedge fund, but I'm still able to grow my career, have a good salary, and have the energy to invest into my YouTube channel. Now, I know not everybody can work remotely, but you can build in often more autonomy into your job by performing well and building trust with your manager. This is something that I've been able to do over the years. I have performed and delivered. And so people, again, aren't on your case as much when they know that you're always delivering work. You're always producing work of a high standard. They don't need to micromanage you and be on your case and check in every hour. And if you have a flexible working hours as well, it means that maybe in the middle of the day you can record a video, right? Even if it spills over your lunchtime a little bit more, because you're going to make it up either at the end of the day or in the quality of your work anyway. You're going to double down. So work to build that trust in the job you have, but also see if you can find jobs that are more remote leaning that still allow you to build that career. The next quite practical thing I've done is systemizing my YouTube content creation process and using templates. Again, it's all about kind of being as efficient as possible in both of these realms in order to grow them simultaneously. And having systems around my YouTube channel and getting videos out has been very helpful. I know that when I have an idea, if I'm on the go or something, it's just going to be chucked into maybe Apple Notes, but then it's going to go into Notion and progress through this flow, through this kind of structure that I have, where we have an idea, we have writing in progress, we have ready to record, edited, and so forth until I'm uploaded, or until it's uploaded. I'm not uploading an actual copy. I guess it is a copy of me. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. The point is, that abstracts away all of these complexities about where I am in this process, what idea I'm going to go to next. Like, it's really quite systemized in that sense. You combine that with the fact that I have a video template, a flow that I know for each video I'm going to follow in terms of thinking about packaging and titles and thumbnails, thinking about the hook, the intro, how I might redistribute this content. Again, it takes away that dilly-dallying about what should I do next, or it's there, it's systemized, it's templated out. Very, very key in building both of these simultaneously without burning out. Next, let's talk about the growing portion of both of these careers, both my professional career and my YouTube career, because being a student of these things and being engaged in learning and research was key for growing both of these. For engineering, I won't go into the specifics so much, but it did mean upskilling and learning about certain platforms and tools so that I could apply them in my day-to-day work to get me further, to deliver and see that growth. But in terms of YouTube, I am a student of this platform. Let's not get this twisted. I absolutely love being here and making content, but I am a stickler for improvement. I want to get better. I want to be better, which means I spend hours watching podcasts by other creators who specialize in talking about the niche, talking about what's happening to the platform, talking about how you can improve the quality of your videos or your thumbnails. I'm in the weeds and I love watching this stuff. It is not a chore for me to listen to like a 2-hour podcast by Samir and Colin. It's not. And so when you get into the idea about being a student of both of these things, it's easier to grow and progress in both. But let's move on to actually ideas and cultivating the mind of a creator, because this can help, again, when you're balancing a career and a YouTube channel and growing that. Because somewhere people get stuck is in having ideas, or if I'm working all these hours, how am I supposed to come up with new and novel ideas? But when you cultivate the mind of a creator, you see ideas everywhere. I've already spoken about the ways that I see ideas in my day-to-day job. Like, I can pull ideas or things that I might work into frameworks from my job, but you see them everywhere. I can't be outside or watching content or engaging in something without my mind thinking, how could this fit into something I want to talk about, or multiple passions, or, personal development. Your brain is almost hardwired. You are hardwiring your neural networks to think about things in terms of content. And we could argue whether that's a good or bad thing. In the context of balancing a job and YouTube, it's great. I'm never short of ideas, as I mentioned, but it's really good in the sense that I don't have to sit down and think, I have no ideas. What am I going to do? Because I'm curating that mind. One of the final few ways I was able to build both of these was using AI in a way that works for me. Now, there is no one way to use AI. You're going to find a way that works in your career, and you'll have to follow the rules and the kind of policies around AI that your company has, right? Most of the time you're allowed to just put the whole code base in unless you're offline and things of that nature. But you can use AI in your career to help make that flow easier, help make your day-to-day easier, repetitive things or things that AI are very good at, like documentation and so forth. You can use that to free up your mind to do other things at work to make a bigger impact. The same way is true with YouTube. I, for example, have spoken about the fact that I have an abundance of ideas. So I don't really need to use AI to generate ideas, but some people do. However, I have found that AI can be very useful in terms of generating ideas for your titles, right? Coming up with like 20 different ideas based on some information that you give it on, your topic and what performs well. And more recently, I have built an AI agent to help me with the hooks of my videos. So I can actually feed it my data from my best performing videos. And this is where we train the AI on us, on our own data. So it's not generic and it sounds like us. I can give it some of my scripts from some of my videos. So ones that I've actually recorded, descript it, and then actually put that into chat and be like, analyze this. Why did this perform well? What can we learn from this? I put some best practices in from the research I've done. And now I have an AI agent that I can interact with. So I can write like a draft hook and be like, how can we improve this with what we know performs well and relates to people? Great, that can speed up that process and help with growing a channel quicker. Something that's been a little bit more practical in building my YouTube channel and my career, if you'd like, simultaneously, is actually taking the money from my career and investing it into YouTube, whether that is things like the gear. Like I have a pretty solid camera. I don't think you have to have this camera. It's the Sony A7C and a couple of lenses, some mic systems, but I also have software that I invest in, right? Things that allow me to edit quicker and with more ease. So like I have integrations for Final Cut Pro that make editing videos, like that one I did on How to Learn Anything. People spoke about the editing and I used that sort of stuff to help with this process. Leading on from that and how I built both of these was knowing when to shift my focus. If you've been on this channel, you know I speak quite a lot about having multiple passions and interests and skills, things like this. So there were times when I had to dive deeper into my career to get it off the ground. At that beginning stage where I was learning about programming and cloud engineering, I had to invest more time there than I did in my channel. And that was okay because again, long-term thinking and long-term planning, I knew it was worth me building up my competency and confidence in my career so that I could leverage that later on when I wanted to spend more time in my channel and building my YouTube. And on the flip side, when you're shifting your focus or your season, you're like, okay, I'm not going to spend as much time maybe outside of work investing in this particular skill because I want to spend a bit more time on my YouTube channel and learning things of that nature. And just being able to shift your focus in and out of these is very useful, and it's something that's helped me a lot in these last 5 years. I started my YouTube channel over 5 years ago now, and my career similar time, well actually around 4 years ago, 4.5. So yeah, one of the final things I want to talk about is scheduling versus being flexible. And I think it's important that you find a balance between the two. Schedules can be great for building a YouTube channel when you know that you have a 9 to 5 to work and a career that you're trying to build. Because again, it abstracts the thought of, am I going to record? Am I not? Like, you know that you're going to show up every Sunday maybe, or every 2 weeks, or every month, whatever the schedule or the cadence that you have decided works for you is. But I'll be honest, I haven't always been consistent on this channel, but yet when I have, and I'll show you like 2 months of the beginning of this year where I was posting almost every week, you can see the growth is there in terms of subscribers, views, revenue, all those things go up, which makes sense. So if you're really serious about building this, I would say find a schedule that works for you so that you can be consistent. It also helps with building an audience because they know that you're going to turn up every, Sunday or whatever the day is that you show up, or every week. If time is your limiting factor and you have money, i.e. you've built your career to a point or your business where you can outsource certain things, it can be very, very good to do that so that you can continue to progress in your business and your career without spending so much time on YouTube. YouTube. Editing is a very, very lengthy process, especially if we're talking about a 20-minute, 15-minute video and you want to add on B-roll and text and transitions. That can start to take up a lot of time, but you can outsource that to other people, which is something that I have played around with. But I really want to find my editor, like the person that my go-to person. And you can outsource different parts of the process. Some people outsource the thumbnail creation, some people outsource redistribution, so cutting it up, putting it onto different platforms like LinkedIn, like Instagram and TikTok. Upwork is great for this. Again, I've used these platforms before. I think I was also quite reluctant because I really do like the editing process to an extent, and it's a big part of how I show up, especially on certain videos. But I'm in a new phase now, and I want to free up my time for things like more ideation, but also more business and branding things. So yeah. So if you're looking for more resources, then I have the free 7-day YouTube plan that you can download. Just click on that and get started. Your first video up in 7 days. I also have my other YouTube video where I break a lot of the things down about getting started with YouTube. There's a wealth of resources. It can be done. I'll see you in the next video.